If you've ever been the one who didn't fit in, if you've ever stayed quiet because speaking the truth felt dangerous, if you've ever felt like your anxiety was a character flaw instead of the consequence of surviving a life that never let you exhale, then you're in the right place. We don't always know what we're searching for, but we can feel when something's missing. It's the absence of feeling known, of feeling understood, of finally letting your shoulders drop in a world that keeps asking you to perform. If you're here, then maybe you've felt it too. That kind of bone-deep exhaustion that doesn't come from doing too much, but from being too much, and not enough all at once. You've always noticed things no one else seemed to. The shift in a tone, the space between words, the weight of what wasn't said. You've questioned everything, overanalyzed everything, agonized over every interaction on your way home from work or the store, and you've been told you're too sensitive, too intense, too quiet, too much of a thinker and not enough of a joiner. Maybe you learned to laugh it off, to mask, to fake normal in public and collapse in private, to survive by blending in. But deep down, you've always known you were never wired for surface level anything, and pretending was slowly canceling you out. It's strange, isn't it? To spend a lifetime trying to be who the world wants, and then one day to realize you don't even know who you are under all that effort. We're not designed for small talk and speed. We were meant for depth, for meaning, for honesty that doesn't flinch. And somewhere beneath all the coping mechanisms, that part of you is still there, untamed, uncompromising, waiting. Me, I'm 54, and I'm still waiting for the yelling to start. And that's not a metaphor. That's my nervous system, my trauma history, my hypervigilance. It's the part of me that grew up expecting to be in trouble, even when I was quiet and careful and obedient. I learned early that people don't always mean what they say, that love can come with conditions and sometimes with yelling, that your needs can make you a burden and the silence is safer than truth. I used to think I was just shy, but shyness doesn't explain the spiral after a simple interaction, or the way I'd rehearse what to say before making a phone call, or why the sound of the phone ringing could make my heart race even decades later. I spent most of my life editing myself to be more palatable, quieter, simpler, less intense, less weird. But I was never actually simple. I just learned how to hide complexity in plain sight. I don't have a before and after story, no big healing breakthrough, no transformation montage. Just years of slow realization, years of trying to be good, then trying to be invisible, then finally trying to be real. I didn't have the words for anxiety or neurodivergence or complex PTSD. What I had was overthinking, this relentless, spiraling, analytical brain, and sometimes it feels like a prison. Some people call it highly sensitive or empathic, and those things are true. I think I also just never had the luxury of not noticing things. I'm an INFJ if you speak Myers-Briggs, neurodivergent, trauma survivor, mask wearer, people pleaser in recovery, still trying to figure out how to belong without betraying myself, still trying to unlearn the instinct to shrink. It took me years to realize that what people call overthinking can actually be intuition with a trauma filter. We don't just think a lot, we sense, we scan, we protect ourselves with preparation. And if you're an INFJ or someone who lives in the deeper currents of the mind, you probably know what it's like to carry too many layers of awareness, to see both sides, all the angles, and the future consequences of decisions no one else is even thinking about yet. It can feel like a gift, and also like carrying a storm you can't explain. But here's the thing I'm learning, slowly and painfully but surely. We are not broken. We are not too much. We are not weird mistakes that need fixing. We're just different. and we've learned to survive in a world that doesn't always know what to do with us. The anxiety, that's not a weakness or a character flaw. That's what happens when your nervous system has been in high alert for too long. The overthinking, that's intelligence shaped by vigilance. That's strategy born from pain. Even the masking, that's not fake, it's adaptation. That's your resilience, your brilliance, your way of navigating a world that often misunderstood you. But we get tired of apologizing for who we are, tired of pretending we're fine, tired of minimizing our gifts because they make people uncomfortable. It takes courage to unmask, to say, this is me. I feel deeply. I think in spirals. I've lived through things I don't always talk about. It takes strength to admit that you're still healing, that you've spent years trying to disappear, and now you want to reappear as someone true. And maybe you've also felt like the alien in the room, like you were watching life happen from behind the glass, like everyone else got a manual you missed, or like you were too sensitive in a world that values loudness and certainty. Maybe you also learned to read people like a language, to anticipate moods before they arrived, to explain yourself with just enough truth to satisfy, but never so much that it made anyone uncomfortable. You're not the only one who grew up learning to read the room like a survival skill, not the only one who feels like an alien in this world, not the only one who's better at listening than speaking, and still lies awake, wondering if you said too much. There are more of us than you think. People who crave depth, who feel too much, who long for meaning over momentum. We're hiding in plain sight, behind roles, behind routines, behind what we think we should be. But we don't need to keep hiding, and we don't need to be fixed, because our way of seeing the world, it's valuable, it's necessary, it's beautiful in its own unfiltered way. This channel is not about giving advice or 5-step solutions. It's not about pretending to have it all figured out. It's being real. It's about whispering the things we've kept inside. It's about telling the truth even when it's messy and even when it's hard. Because people like us, we remember. We connect dots. We sit with pain. We don't rush to fix it or deny it or wrap it in a bow. We listen. We reflect. And sometimes when the time is right, we speak. Not to preach, not to advise, just to tell the truth out loud. I'll be talking about INFJ identity, neurodivergence, trauma, anxiety, and the quiet rebellion of finally being yourself. Not the polished version, but the one underneath. I'll talk about growing older and still feeling lost, about learning to trust yourself after a childhood that taught you not to, about finally starting to hear your own voice after years of silencing it for others. Being an INFJ isn't a quirk, it's a way of moving through the world that's both a gift and a burden. It means caring deeply, seeing beneath the surface and sensing what's not being said. It means being misunderstood, often, and feeling like your mind is both your sanctuary and your jail. But it also means finding beauty in things most people miss. It means noticing patterns, telling stories, and craving meaning in a world that often feels shallow. We don't just want connection, we want truthful connection. We don't just feel emotions, we absorb them. We ruminate, we analyze, we imagine every outcome before anything happens. And that can feel like a curse until we realize it's also a form of wisdom. We are meaning makers. You don't need to agree with everything I say. You don't need to be any particular type of neurodivergent or introvert or personality type to relate. You just need to have lived long enough to feel tired of pretending, long enough to crave something real. This won't be for everyone. Some people want solutions, quick wins, clean answers. But I think there's something sacred in the mess, in the questions, in just saying, this is what it's like for me. So if you're tired of pretending, and if you're done with small talk, if you're ready to stop canceling yourself out, welcome. Let's talk about the things not many others do. The truths that live beneath the noise, the the beauty in being wired differently, and the courage it takes to finally be yourself in a world that keeps asking you to be someone else.